lot of people, and rightfully so, say that 2020 was one of the hardest years ever. And I know it was for a lot of people, and it was for us too. It was the year right as the pandemic was starting, we had a miscarriage, and that was hard. One of the hardest things ever. But 2020 was also the year I started running for the first time since I was a teenager. Everything was going great at home. Had a happy 4 year old. A little wild, but happy. Um, and then we got into 2021. And that's when our challenges as a family really started. So I spent the first portion of the year, January, the end of January, most of February, and a big portion of March in the hospital with a foot infection, um, metal rod in my foot, and ended up with like 8 different surgeries. During that same time, while I was in the hospital and while we were dealing with all of that, our son Alex, who at the time was 5, he is 5, not at the time, he still is 5. Well, he was diagnosed with autism and ADHD and OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So let me tell you that that's a challenge in itself. And if you're the parent of an autistic child or any of those, you know that it's a challenge. And you know you would never give that child up for anything. And you just want to help that child so much. But it's an adventure, it's a journey, it's a trip, it's learning, it's, the puzzle pieces. Over the summer, we started getting Alex the help he needed. We got him into a child psychiatrist. We're working on getting him into ABA therapy, but insurance is being insurance, and you know how that can be. It's a challenge all in itself, which shouldn't be a challenge, but of course it's got to be a challenge. Insurance doesn't want to make anything easy. So then after that, a couple weeks ago, I found out that my foot was infected again. Everything, I was in the hospital for another week. At the end of that week, a couple days before I was released, my foot doctor, who's always been very optimistic, said and I quote this, I think it's time to throw in the towel. Meaning, it's time to get rid of the foot. And that was hard to hear. Um, they chopped it, went to surgery. A couple days later, they chopped it off. This is I started talking to the camera. I started vlogging a little bit to tell, what I was thinking in the moment. And this is the story that I want to tell about that. And I want to also continue this story because this isn't just a one and done. This is a journey for Alex and his conditions, a journey for me and my amputation, and a journey, to hopefully inspire people. I mean, all these things have a stigma behind them. You hear an autistic kid and you think major learning disabilities, major, you know, behavioral issues, and that's just not the case. I mean, there are challenges, but you just have to learn. You have to learn to work with them. You think amputee and you think somebody that is just, stuck in a wheelchair, gets the handicap spot. But guess what? I started this year running. I'm going to end this year as a runner again. I'm going to end this year back on the treadmill. And I want to take you on the journey that I'm looking at with the amputation, and then the journey to get my son, the help he needs as he starts ABA therapy and as he starts kindergarten. And I hope you join me. I hope you're inspired, and I hope you see that anything's possible. So let's get this started with my first I don't know what I want to call it, my first input. This one's gonna be fairly serious, but look for humor, look for fun. I don't take things very seriously. So let's get started.
Hello. Um, so I'm on my way to the hospital, getting ready to leave. I'm losing my foot below the knee, and I'm not gonna lie, like I'm low-key freaking out. I'm not low-key freaking out. I'm high-key freaking out about it. It's got me terrified. After years and years and years of fighting this foot, having problems, having infections, having toe amputations, it needs to happen. But I think I'm afraid of the unknown more than anything. The doctor says I should be up and walking in a month with a prosthetic.
My room now. I just had my lower leg amputated. Going into it, I was obviously anxious. I was obviously nervous. I was freaking all the way the heck out. But I also knew it was something that I needed to do. I had so many infections in that leg. I had a metal rod in there. I was running. I got a blister. The blister became infected under the blister as it was healing. I was already healed up, and I had to come to the hospital. Nearly went septic. Nearly died. I'm not exaggerating. That's my doctor's words, not my words. I nearly died. I was on a wound vac. I was on a wound vac. And wound vacs, I don't know if you've ever seen a wound vac, but they're modern medical miracle. Let me say that. They're awesome for what they do, but they are a pain in the butt. So if you're ever on a wound vac, I mean, be thankful you have the resources to get one, because they are good at what they do, but they suck to have to carry around. I've been freaking out all week. I've been coming to terms with a lot of stuff. I've been feeling insignificant. I've been feeling like a burden. I've been all the feelings you can think of. I mean, all the feelings. The biggest one that I struggle with is feeling like a burden. And I'm all over the place here. Anyways, so yeah, I went through all the emotions this week. Came in today, did the amputation. And after it's done, now that I'm sitting here in a hospital bed, it's only been a couple hours, but now that it's done, I feel like I know I made the right call. I made the right decision. And let me be clear, I didn't make any decision. This was going to happen whether I wanted it to or not. But I don't feel like it was the wrong thing to do. I feel like I needed to do this to move forward, because I've been held back by my foot so many times, and this is something that I think I'll be able to move ahead now. I'll be able to exercise again. I'll be able to go for walks with Alex again, my 5-year-old. I'll be able to do a lot of the things that I haven't been able to do once I get a prosthetic. And that's where my being optimistic lies, is getting that prosthetic. I'm ready, to do that. And the doctor says I should be able to do it in a month. So if I can get a prosthetic and if I can be walking in a month, it blows my mind. When I've been on a knee scooter since March, and then before that I was in a hospital for a month. So I haven't really truly walked since January, and right now it is July 22nd. I have to thank my wife, because holy crap, she's put up with so much. She has put up with so much in this process, and that goes into me feeling like a burden. She doesn't make me feel like a burden, let me be clear, but it's just my feelings for me personally. But she's given up a lot of time working. She's kept Alex busy while I've been in the hospital. She's been a great mom to him. Took him to the fair last week. I was in the hospital last week. Took him to the fair, which I wouldn't have been able to do. And she's done a great job. And I think there's a couple good things to come out of this, but I think one of the good things that can come out of this is her and Alex have really bonded this year, because Alex has always been a daddy's boy. He's always leaned towards me, and I think that's something that bugged her. But with me being in the hospital and me being hurt so much, they've bonded a lot over that. Both of them together, you know, in terms of he's not he's not the daddy's boy he used to be. He's a daddy's boy. Don't get me wrong, but he's not afraid. You know, that's the wrong word. He was never afraid. But he goes to Amy now too. When before it was mostly just me, and you know, that makes me happy that they're there for each other. That no matter what happens, Alex is a caring little boy that has his mom's back, and Amy obviously has his back. Okay, so I'm still in the hospital right now, and sorry, Amy just texted me. So I'm still in the hospital, and holy crap, I don't know how it happened, but my dressing came off of my foot. My dressing came off of my stump. Is that offensive? You know what? It might be, but I'm allowed to say it. So I got my first look at it, and as I took some pictures, and as Amy pointed out, it's probably the cleanest looking wound I've had in the last year or more. So I'm waiting for the nurse to come in to reapply the dressing right now. But I just kind of want to get my first impressions on it. It looks like I call it like a pizza roll, like a Tostino's pizza roll. It's kind of like folded over and stapled. Best way to describe it. Sorry if I ruined pizza rolls for you, but I have nothing else. Oh, no, I have a better one. Remember Uncrustables? Like how they were like the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but they were kind of folded and not stapled together, but they were like pressed together? Kind of looks like that.
Hello, it is about 7:30 in the morning. The day after I had my surgery. Sorry it's so dark, you probably can't see me. So I've gotten like no sleep. Um, Laying in this hospital bed. I was tired, but then I started having bad dreams about disappointing people, about letting people down, which is, I think, always one of my biggest fears whenever I have issues with my health. Is I feel like I'm gonna let my son down. I feel like I'm gonna let my wife down. I feel like I'm gonna let my work down. You know, I feel like I'm gonna let everybody down. And so, in reality, I know that's not the case. I know that, you know, I have support. So that's not what you know. But you know how bad dreams are. You have a bad dream, it shakes you, and you can't let go of it.
I'm pretty optimistic right now. Still kind of a little scared. I mean, in here you have that safety protection that when you're not here, you don't. So, a little nervous, a little anxious, a little excited. I'm ready to move forward and, you know, take this adventure head on. And now to talk about where I've been since I've been home. Home from the hospital, home as an amputee. It's definitely a challenge. Um, some of the things that I never thought about would be as much of a challenge is just like getting out of bed. I mean, like I have a knee scooter, which my knee scooter, man, that's a game changer for me. I couldn't imagine doing this on crutches or a walker because there's no safety net. I have crap balance, so I would fall over right away if I was on either of those. So thankfully, I've got my knee scooter, but still, even then, like I just don't have that left side body strength yet to lift myself up easily. I'm a big guy. Lifting myself up off of the couch, lifting myself up off of the bed, trying to just go to the bathroom is a challenge, and it's something you take for granted. And right now, I'm working on the process of getting my prosthetic, and I'm gonna let you follow along with that, and we're gonna do this together. And I'm gonna show you if an overweight diabetic with one leg can do this, then you can do it too.